The presumption of innocence. We all hear judges say you got to presume the defendant to be innocent, not just now, but out through these entire proceedings. To presume means to believe something to be true with no evidence to support it. You just believe it. It's almost like faith. That means that a jury has to believe the defendant is innocent, even during deliberation, because the presumption never stops. It only stops unless and until they reach a verdict that is guilty. Otherwise, they have to, even when they're reviewing evidence, they have to look at this evidence critically. They have to look at it through the lens of innocence. We haven't heard any evidence in this case. So who here would be at neutral? Everybody's raised their hand. Makes sense? I want you all to imagine that we live in a country where a person accused of a crime is presumed to be guilty. Now what do we have to presume about my client, defendant X? That he's guilty, right? Thank God that we live in the United States of America, where a person accused of a crime is presumed to be innocent. Now what do we have to presume about defendant X? That he's innocent. Does it kind of feel like the same thing to you? You know, I bet you're not alone. I bet there's other people sitting on this jury that feel the same way you do. I want you all to think of somebody that comes to your mind, somebody who you know, who's the last person you could ever imagine, in this case is a theft case, would steal something. For me, this person is my mom. I remember when I was about 13 years old, my mom brings me to the movie. I'm getting out of the car and she hands me $5. I'm like, Mom, $5? The movie's only $3. She goes, no, it's not anymore, son. You're 13 now. And you got to pay the higher price. Mom, nobody's going to know. I look the same way I did yesterday. And she says, Nick, you know. And not paying the higher price, it's the same thing as stealing. And I didn't raise you like this. If a prosecutor came to me and said, my mother was a thief, I'd tell them no way. Even if they said I had 2 eyewitnesses that saw her do it, I'd say those eyewitnesses, they're either lying or they're mistaken. Because I know my mom. Who's this person for you? Hold that name. If a prosecutor came into this courtroom and said, you know what? This person is a thief. What would you tell this prosecutor? Yeah, you'd tell them no way. What if they said, I got 2 eyewitnesses that saw him do it? What would you tell this prosecutor about her 2 eyewitnesses? That's right, that they're either lying or they're mistaken. You know this person. The way that I feel about my mom, the way that you feel about the person who came to mind for you, that feeling, that belief, that is the presumption of innocence. And the only way Mr. X is going to get a fair trial in this case is if we give him that same feeling and belief, not just right now, but out through this entire process. Even when you're in the deliberation room and you're reviewing evidence, you have to be looking at this evidence through the lens of innocence.